Hey everybody, welcome. This is my transformation video for Toyseasy Type 055 Jingtian, the right arm of the combiner. So let's get down to alt mode. First thing, go ahead and fold up his hands. You want the thumb on the inside, bend his knuckles at the second pivot, open up this panel, and fold his whole hand in. And you do want it so the back of his hand is facing out so that this panel sits nice and flush. Then we'll disconnect this red panel, disconnect this from the side of the arm, which is tabbed on very securely. There we go. Fold down this red panel, and then you've got this tab going into this slot. So go ahead and get that lined up. And then these, you just extend them out. They don't tab into anything. Then fold up that red panel. And this whole thing is on a double joint. So just pull it out and then slide it down. And you'll see it's got this little hook tab that it sits on top of. There we go. And then this panel is on a small double joint. You want to lift it up, bring it around, and then close it down so that it's sitting with that section. All right, now we're going to do the other side. Same thing. Thumb in, get the hands, open this up. Now the difference is this one has a gun for the ship mode, so you want to get that out. Then again, fold this in, fold that, bring down this red panel, untab this, one tab and slot, fold down this red panel, open that up, bring this down on the double joint, get that tabbed in, fold this down on the double joint. There we go. And this, okay. So there is a small tab back here. There we go. It's got to be lined up in here. It tried getting caught. It doesn't really tab in, but it still kind of locates. So, now you'll untab these shoulder pieces. Then we're going to rotate these around and compress the double joint in here so that it all lines up. There we go. That's how that double joint that I just mentioned should be looking, nice and flat. Now we'll bring down the backpack, bring down these two panels, and then if it didn't already, open up the rest of the backpack. Fold this out. Lift up on the head because it's tabbed in to the arm attachment. And you also want to open up these two panels, slide them out, untab the front of the ship from the abs if it didn't already do that for you, and then lift up. These front panels on mine are a little loose, so I got to make sure they stay out to the side. There we go. And for the head, you need to collapse the fins, and there are very small channels. You can see one right here, one right here, of course the big one for the middle. That's where the fins are going to collapse into. They've got these small little lines on the inside of the fins, and they go into those ridges. So bring them all down, close them all up. So it should be looking pretty much like that with all the fins swept back. Now we'll rotate. Make sure this arm is Make sure both arms are rotated so it's out of the way, and we'll rotate this whole thing around. Now, before we go tab everything in, we're going to come back here, and we need to rotate these and these so they're out and nice and flat. So go ahead and get all that rotated. Once you get that set up, we're going to rotate the ab crunch. Make sure that the ab crunch is all the way up, because we're going to push this down and it's going to lock the ab crunch. We're going to push that down. See, that locks the ab crunch. Now that that's locked down, we're going to come back here and we're going to make sure the head gets fed in here properly. And we're going to close all this up, and it should just neatly go over everything as such. All right, you'll know it's right because you can bring this forward and get it tabbed in to these two slots. There we go. Okay, and now we're going to straighten this out. And just because of clearance, I like to bring it out a little bit first. Then I'll straighten it, and then I'll bring it back down. And now we're going to bring these together. Now you've got a slot right here, or sorry, a tab and a post. Those are going to go into this port and this slot on both sides. Then you have two tabs here. Two tabs here that go into slots right here on both sides. Then the ship sides also, you've got tabs and slots at various places. So, a few different things to line up. What helps is when you get it close, give it a little bit of a twist to angle it underneath this. There we go. And it should all come together pretty well. Get it all tabbed together. And then you can close up these two side panels. Okay, that is the front of the ship done. Now we're going to do the back. So, we're going to fold up these fins, and we're going to fold this little horn up. We're going to rotate and fold this up, and you have a tab here for this slot. Okay. Going to lift up on this piece on both sides. You're going to separate this piece from the inner thigh and rotate it out and down. We're going to rotate these, and you want to do it kind of in pieces here. I get that one up a little bit, then you'll have room for that. Get that a little more. So you want them both looking like that. Do that on both sides. Alright, and these already came untabbed for me. If they didn't come untabbed for you, then go ahead and get them now. Make sure these side hip skirts are flat. And if they didn't already, untab these center pieces and then fold this one in. Alright? You can see they untab themselves for me, but just in case. Go ahead and get these rotated out and kind of close to where they need to be. They don't need to be fully in place now, but I'll go ahead and get them. Make sure that these buckles are up for now. We will need them for boat mode. Bring these down and the legs all the way out. Okay. Now these have a tab and slot. Go and get those locked in. Alright. Don't worry about that. That turret falls off of this guy all the time. It's a little loose on my copy. Alright, so now we've got all this. We're going to go ahead and bring the two legs together. You've got tabs and slots there and a couple other tabs and slots as you go along. Now you don't have to fully attach them right now, but I at least want them close. So is what we're going to do here. I'm going to bring this panel off on both sides. Okay, I want to attach this panel. And it should fill in all of that. Then these two can come down. And they are on a double joint. Make sure that tab goes into that slot. So they'll be sitting almost flush with the front here. And for back here, so you can do, extend them. They're on double joints. So you want to bring this propeller shaft out on both sides. Okay. The one that has the male end of the dovetails, you can fully attach that right now. And you're just going to fold that up. And it's got a tab that goes into a slot on the top of the foot. So there's that. Now we can go ahead and combine the two pieces of the legs. Alright, and now, oops, get that, there we go. Now we'll go ahead and do this one because it has the dovetails. So you just set that in place, give it a good press, and you'll get the two dovetails and that tab all at the same time. Now we'll come in here. Now, we don't need to fully attach it yet, but you want to get it close. Next, we're going to come back here. We're going to fold this piece out, these two in, make sure this is all the way up. It is right now. And then you're going to bring it down. You've got two ports that are just going to kind of go in there. They're going to go into the gap here. You can kind of see the cutout there for them. Two slots here for those two tabs. And then these two slots for these two tabs. And these tabs on each side are going to go into this panel. And that's why we want to bring this down first. Get it tabbed in. Then close up these side panels. Alright. And then, finally, the last thing to do, make sure that these are still out. They probably were out from robot mode. It's possible they got hit and they might be pushed in. But go ahead and bring them in. Get them locked together. And then use those tabs to lock in place. And then just lift up on that. And that is it for his boat mode. I'll go ahead and reattach that turret, even though it's going to fall off again when we go into arm mode. So, there is the top of the ship, the side, the bottom, and a little bit of a 360. All right, and with that, there's his boat mode. All right, and let's get down to transformation again to get him into his arm mode. So, let's see where to start. Let's go ahead and do the lower half first. So first thing, we'll go ahead and split these two panels just so we can get this up. We'll separate those, fold that down. We're going to lift up on these small panels and rotate them around out of the way. All right. And let's go ahead and split everything here in the back. Lift up on that. Bring these two panels out to the side. Lift down on the right side of that because of the dovetail. And you should be able to split everything apart at this point. It all tabs together very securely, which is nice, but also sometimes annoying. There we go. All right, so first of all, let's go ahead and fold these propeller shafts in and make sure they go between a pair of blades for the propeller. Then we're going to fold these fins down on both sides. We're going to pop these panels off and lift up on the shin panels. And is what we're going to do here. We're going to flip the foot down. You have a double joint here. You want this double joint to stay straight. And then you're going to lift out on the arm. And there we go. Should be pretty close to that. Then we're going to fold down the shin panel, lock that into place. Make sure these are still straight and close up this side panel. And the way that this side panel works for now is the propeller goes into this small channel. So it does have to be, it is going to be locked in place. You can close that up, and that's it for that. Now what we're going to do is do the same thing on the other side. So I already took that panel off. I'm going to lift up on the shin, flip down on this, lift up on the hand, make sure that the double joint stays straight. Okay, then we're going to put the shin panel back down, which the shin panel also helps lock the hand in place. Then we're going to put this panel back in place. Oops, these fins are not set up quite right. There we go. Good. Close this down. And now we're going to shorten the legs. So before we do that, make sure to lift up on these two clasps. Bring those panels out. You want to get these panels out of the way. All right. We're going to just spread the legs a little bit more. Open up these panels. They may have already opened on you. On mine, they're a little loose. And just compress up and then close it up again. You can see this one kind of did it automatically for me. And now at this point, we can go ahead and bring the legs together. Starting up there, and then when we get back here, because the dovetails, you want to lift up only on the foot part, not this part. Because remember, this is locked in place. So if you go lifting up on it, you can break that propeller. So just lift up on that, because you got the dovetails. So as you put these two halves of the ship together, you got to make sure that these panels line up right. There we go. And then you can close these back in, tab them into place, make sure everything is fully tabbed in and locked. All right, these will go back in place like they were for boat mode. All right. And these, there we go. Those didn't want to tab in. Okay, I'm just going to leave these off to the side for now. We're not going to be using these tabs again because, of course, we don't want to limit the rotation of the arm. So I'm going to lift up on these to get them out of my way, because on my copy I've snapped them off a couple times. Thankfully they just reattach, but still. And we're going to take apart the front of the ship. Both sides, of course. We got a few more things to do. Alright, so go ahead and split the front of the ship down the middle. Get it all taken out. Something is still latched on. Okay, there we go. Alright. Now, we're going to bring the tower down, and we're going to lift up on this front section. The joint, go ahead and lift it out. Make sure the top of the tower is folded in, and then rotate the entire tower in. Okay? Now we want to lift up on this back part. There we go. And you want to fold these triangle pieces in. Okay, now put the ab crunch back, push that panel back down to lock it in place, and now we can go ahead and close up these two panels. Alright, just remember, do not use the clasps, not for this, because we're going to rotate. And actually we'll do that now, just to get that out of the way. So, now that we have the tower in place, the head is still going to be in there. So you got to make sure if your fins are all in the right place, carefully fold this back up, and it'll be a tight fit, but it will fit. And as what I've found is the top fin is going to pretty much rest on top of that hinge. Might need to actually lift up on it properly. There we go. And now that it's in place, I can try and push it down a little bit. But it's fine if it sticks up, because this will come down. You've got the one post and port, that square port, and it tabs in, and there you go. That's how that's going to sit. So we're going to come up here and keep going with the arms and finish up. So you've got this little double joint. Want to lift up on it, get it out of the way. Alright, then you want to open up this panel and go ahead and bend it at the shoulder to help give you the clearance. Then rotate the bicep around 180, and then close that panel back up. Put the shoulder back, or straighten the shoulder back, I should say. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Lift up on that. Bring, I didn't mean to bring this red piece down, so I'm getting that out of my way. Bring this piece out and bend the shoulder. Rotate this 180. Put this back in place. And straighten the shoulder again. And now, at this joint, which we have not used so far, you're going to split it. I'll show you this from the back side. So what I'm doing is I'm grabbing this and I'm pulling it while rotating it. There's a pair of tabs going into those slots. That's what keeps it in place. So, get that out of the way. And now we're going to put the two pieces back together. So get that all lined up. This is just like when we went into boat mode. So get all that lined up. We can close up the side panel on both sides. And as what we're going to do here is you have this port, this post going into this port on both sides. So go ahead and get that. These two double jointed pieces, you can just let them sit up there like so. And we are just about done. Go ahead and angle this however you want. I'll just leave it up like this for now so I have something to hold. Make sure these small pieces stay up so they're out of the way of the rotation. And that's really it. If you want, you can angle the booster, but it's an arm, so it doesn't really matter. These you can also angle out of the way if you would like. Just make sure that these clasps are down as well. Then for the hand, take the fingers out, take the thumb out, and the hand can rotate. This is the left, the right, so there we go. That is the right arm. Okay, and now let's go ahead and get back into robot mode one more time. So, make sure the palm is facing up. Fold the thumb in and over on itself, and fold the fingers over. Alright, that's how that should be looking. Go ahead and straighten that out. And we'll go ahead and do the legs first. So remember to lift up on only the feet. Oh, come on. There we go. So we can make sure that dovetail separates properly. And go ahead and separate everything. Good, good, good. Alright, so we'll lift up on that. We'll pull out on that and that. Lift up on the shin cover. Rotate the hand in and the red panel down. Close the shin cover. Put the foot in place. Bring that down, rotate it around. Bring this down. Tab that in. Now what we're going to do here for these fins, lift up on the upper one, then rotate this one all the way out, and then rotate this one. And you may need to bend the knee to make it work, but that's how it should look. The back piece here, rotated around, it has a post right here that goes into this port. So you want to make sure that gets lined up. And you've got a ball joint with a double joint down here, which for me is stiff. So I gotta kind of work with it a little bit. There we go. That's good. It cooperated this time. All right. Huzzah. And then we'll open up this joint and stretch out the leg. Close that back up. Now I'll leave these off to the side for a moment until we get the hips sorted out. But I'm going to go ahead and finish this side first. Doing the exact same thing. There we go. Do the fins. Bend at the knee to get the clearance. Bring this all the way out. Good. Rotate. Post and port in the inner shin. Where are you at? Where are you at? Uh-oh. Where is it at? Come on. There it is. And then I will compress that. And I'll leave that down. We'll split this open, shift it down, and lock it in place. Get this foot. Oops. No. Untab. That is a very strong tab connection, apparently. Wow. There we go. Rotate the foot around. And I'll do the toes and the fins last, like I did with a couple of the others. Okay, and now at this point, I'm going to rotate. And, okay, that's just a turret. I'm going to bring these pieces down. And I'm going to bring these down from the ship. And just split them apart. There we go. Once it's apart, make sure this middle latch gets pulled out. I'm going to go ahead and rotate at the thigh, or the hip joint, and I'm going to bring the legs together. Good. Close that latch, even though it will come undone on my copy. I'll close the back latches. There we go. And now I'll bring the legs all the way down. Okay, latches decided to come undone. Like I said in my review video, that is a problem with this guy. There. Now I'll bring the legs all the way down. Alright. And we'll bring this up, which has a post and a port, as well as a slot here for this tab. So go ahead and get that tabbed in. And then for this one, it's got this tab for this slot. And do that on both sides. Come on now. Oh. Well, I'm glad that's happened. Make sure this joint, the elbow joint, is straight when you're doing this. That's what was wrong. It wasn't lined up. Here we go. Okay, that is the legs just about done. Bring the hip skirt down a little bit so they're free. I'm going to pop open the belly pieces. And after these are opened, I'll make sure these are out of the way. Bring those all the way out. These hip skirt, the back flaps can just sit in place. I'm going to need to keep moving them so I can hold his waist steady. Okay, now that we're at this point, go ahead and open up these two side pieces so we can again split the front of the ship. There's one. And two. I'll come around here. This I'm just going to pull down, and we're going to split the arms. There we go. For the joint piece here, I'll go ahead and bring this up a little bit, and then I'll flatten out this part. Need to make sure I watch my waist connections there. And then just rotate this all around. And then we're going to separate this. And remember, you got to separate it in the back too, so you can get that angle out of it. All right, so we'll leave that in there. So this, I'm going to bring the head back, and you'll know whether or not this is in the right place, because there's a tab going into the slot here. And if you can't tab the head in, then guess what? It's in the wrong spot. So, lift this up. One click. And there we go. That's tabbed in. Up here, this front piece is just on this armature. So bring it down and you've got two slots right there for two small tabs, and it should just locate itself automatically. Then these push together and push in to fill that gap. For the head, push down or up on the middle spike, down on the lower spikes, and up. There we go. I'm trying to do this one-handed here. It's a little difficult. There we go. So that is how you want the face looking. All right. So that's done. Moving on back here. Like I said, that's going to stay inside, so just make sure it's tucked all the way in. Make sure these triangle pieces are still in place. And then we're going to rotate these side pieces. And you should be able to just plug that in. Then you can plug this in too, but at this point it may come undone. All right. We are almost there. We're going to rotate this all the way around, and you have these two tabs going into those two slots. Plug that in, and we'll do that on both sides. And now is what we're going to do is we're going to lift up on this and bend at the shoulder. And you want to bring the shoulder up. There we go. Lift up on this panel. And then you can fold that red piece down. This piece, move it upwards and flatten it. Rotate this around, and you can go ahead and put this back into place as well. You should be able to lift up on this panel. Get that pretty close. Lift up there, bring this up on its joint, bring the red piece in, put this piece in flat, bring this up, right. Make sure I got this. Remember, the backpack, you push in the lower part, it's going to lock the ab crunch if the ab crunch is lined up. If it's not lined up, then you're going to be okay. And right now, just for transformation's sake, I want it locked in place, just so it doesn't mess with me. But that's how the backpack is going to look. We'll go ahead and fold in these small gray tabs as well, so that it's a nice flush look on the sides. Alright, and go ahead and put this joint back together as well. Now what we're going to do, push in on this bottom red piece, it just tabs in place. Bring this out and put it on the side of the arm. There we go. You have a small tab right here that goes into this slot. There. And then this tab goes into this slot. Good. And you'll lift up on this panel, and you got to get the hand out. And the hand is honestly a little stiff sometimes. That time was perfect. Good. Okay, cool. making a liar out of me. But there we go. That is one arm complete. I'm just making sure that the darn loose waist stays together. So, again, over here, I'm going to close up this red panel, which 2 tabs, they go into the 2 slots, and it should pretty much line up right there. We'll bring this out, and get it tabbed in. Bring this red panel up and tab it in exactly the same as it is on the other side. This we're going to rotate around. We'll open up this panel. Bring the hand out. Oh, does this one want to fight me? Of course. Why? You know? Had one easy one, now I got one that wants to fight. There we go. Bring that out. Bring this in. Close that up. Making sure everything is nice and straight here. Everything is as solidly tabbed in as it can be. You can put these however you want. Got those. Okay. The last thing to do, bring his horns out, and you can either push up from here, you can try and flip from here. Just bring them out, and they will sit at an angle, but they'll be flush on the bottom. And then you just rotate out his little wings. There he is. That is Jingtian in his robot mode. So, there is his front, side, his back, and that is it. There you go. Thank you for watching. I hope this video helped at least one of you, and until next time.